This session, we're going to cover Receivable Account Management. So from the home ribbon, I'm going to go to Accounting, and in the bottom left corner, I'm going to make sure the Receivable tab is selected. So to search for a particular receivable account, you can type in part of the name. For example, if I look for Mr. Blue and I hit Enter on my keyboard, looks up anything with Blue in the name. If I want to pull up all of my accounts, asterisk, this is kind of like a wild card, hit Enter, and I'll pull up all the accounts. So the columns on the left side here, you can sort these by simply clicking on them, and you can switch them around however you like. This search up here with binoculars is the same thing as hitting Enter on the keyboard. So if I type in something and hit Search, it pulls it up. This is a screen refresh. You'll always be able to print from here, do a print preview, PDF, email. So I'm going to go select Mr. Blue here. Let's take a look at his account. So if I need to print just a statement for this one single account, I'm not doing a statement run here of all accounts, just this one account that I have highlighted in blue. I go up to Statement. You set your start and end dates. You do not need to print any purge transactions unless you want to. And then you're going to select Print or Email. Once you select OK, then it goes on to print or email the particular statement. You can add new accounts back here. Now remember, if you add a contact, you can also set up a receivable at the same time, or just a bare receivable by itself that is no contact record. You can edit an existing account. You can change account numbers, change the terms if you wish, limits, service charge rate. How do you want to print and or email accounts? You can even associate other contacts to this particular receivable account. You can delete accounts. So if I type in yes and go to delete, and I hit OK, it's going to stop me. You can only delete receivable accounts that have a zero balance, It does not delete the contact record out of the system. It just deletes the account, the receivable. From here over are your management tools. You have a search, which is a find. So anytime you see binoculars, you know that's some type of a search. You can search in any of these columns. So if you look at the column headers up here at the titles, you'll see the columns. If I'm looking for a particular document number, maybe I'm looking for 186, where is it? Hit Find All, click it, and then it'll highlight it in the background for you. Makes it really easy to find them. Here I have an invoice. Customer calls me up, wants to get a copy of this invoice. I can do it from here. I just, again, click on it, highlight it, go to Invoice, and here's a copy of the invoice. I can email it, print it, export it, whatever I want to do. I can do the same thing on a credit invoice. What is a transaction? If you notice here, we have a payment that was made, and then there's an outstanding of $0. Let's go look at that transaction. Here's the payment. Here are the items that were paid. If you go down to Action, you can print and email receipts here. You can do an edit. So if I select this credit invoice here and I go to Edit, what can I edit? I can edit what is in the description. Cannot edit post date or due date here. Now why is that? Well, there is no due date on a credit invoice. But if I go down to an invoice and edit, then I can change the due date and what is in this description. Here we have reconcile. I'm going to come back to this a little bit later. Make a payment. Now, if you wish to take payments in here, you certainly can without reconciling. You just simply click on make a payment. You're going to say what is the date of the payment. Again, you can backdate, you can forward date, whatever it is. Let's just say end of February. How is the money being paid? Write you a check, credit card, cash, whatever. And what do you want to pay on? Now, it could be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, however many. On this payment amount here, if it is going to be that exact amount, that's fine. If it needs to be a different amount, it can. You can type in whatever you want. If you're going to make a partial payment, do that. You can hit OK and take the payment and either print or email. Okay. That'll give them a receipt. So here we made that payment. So again, where did that payment go? If I go to transaction, it shows you which invoice it was paid on. And again, I can go to action, print, or email a receipt. Now, if I do take a payment like this and I made a mistake, maybe I put it on the wrong invoice or something, I click it, hit delete. That will reverse the payment out of here and put everything back to the way it was. And you can also take a payment without applying it to anything. So if I come in here and say we're going to take a payment again of $200, I don't select any invoices. I select OK. Now it's going to ask me, do I want to leave it as unapplied or to the oldest outstanding first? So you can choose whichever way you want to do this. If I leave it unapplied, then I must apply it later. So I can apply this at a later date or have it go to oldest outstanding right away. You do have a contra feature in here. So a contra would move a receivable to a payable. Receivable to a payable. You pick your date. Let's go back to February 28th. So here's 3 invoices that I have. Let's take this invoice here. And we're going to move that to a payable account. So what that does, it actually creates a credit in the payable. So if I go put this to Napa, for example, we'll look for Napa. There's Napa. Hit OK. Select OK again. See, here's my contra. And if I go over to the payable for Napa, you will see it has a credit in the Napa. And there's my credit. If you do this and make a mistake, you can delete it. What's going to stop me from deleting is if things have been purged. If they've been purged or payments applied, things like that, you have to undo them. So why did this not happen? Let's go back over to the receivable. Let's see if we can delete it here. There we go. So I had to go back to where it originated from in order to delete it. Here we have a $50 credit. I want to apply this credit to a specific invoice. So I highlight the credit, go to apply, pick the date I want to apply it. Here was the original credit date. So if I go back to the 28th, I can. And then I'm going to select where I want to credit it at. Hit save, and now I've applied the credit. So now I have an outstanding of 0, and it's been applied. You can do manual adjustments here. So if I come in and do a manual adjustment, select whatever date. Again, you can backdate or forward date, doesn't matter. Where do you want to make the adjustment go? So you're going to pick, from whatever account. Maybe I had a bad debt here. It's going to be a write-off. And how much do I want to write off? You can do tax adjustment here if needed. Hit select. There we go. Now, since I wrote that off, then I'm going to need to apply that to something. So I made a credit and I go apply it to a particular invoice. Again, if I make a mistake here, delete. You can manually enter a service charge here. I might have customers I normally don't charge a service charge to, but I have one that's starting to run pretty late. So I might say, well, I want to do a late fee, anything late as of the 28th. Do I want to give them a grace period? What's the total overdue? What percentage do I want to do? Maybe 2%. And I hit apply and it'll add that in. Now I can do this as a percentage or by a fixed dollar amount. I can come in here and say, well, I'm just going to charge, say, a $25 late fee. Once I apply it, it goes in the system. Now, if you want to reword this, again, you're just going to do an edit. Now I can right click and do an edit, or I can go up to the top. Same thing. So I can go in and maybe reword this on how I want it written. If I put in a service charge and they don't pay me and I don't want to mess with this, just simply click it and delete it. You can purge. So this is what we call a manual purge. You just select your date, whichever date you want to purge it to. Hit continue. Purges out anything that's been paid off totally in zero. So I hit OK. Now they're purged. I can reverse a purge. And you can reverse as many as you want. You just have to do these one at a time. So see, it's going to bring those two transactions back. I can take an invoice in here and split it up. I might have a really large receivable invoice for customers and we negotiate terms on it. So once the invoice is here, I highlight it, split payment terms. Now I can split this up as many ways as I want. So if I say, well, we're going to split this in two. Well, that didn't add up very right. Maybe we should make it about 550. Sorry. And then what are going to be the due dates for each one? Select. There we go. Here's my split. So what if I make a split and don't want to do it? I change my mind. I delete. Now you notice sometimes this is popping up with this little detail up here. So it's just letting me know it's a really old transaction. Reconciling. Now you'll notice these columns, how they're kind of spread open here. That's because you can actually take these columns and set them how you like. You can click a column, click again and move it. Set it where you want. Again, these are workstation settings, so once you set them, it'll remember. You can even sort by clicking on a column. Set it however you like. So when I go to reconcile, I can do this one of two ways. I can pre-check everything here if I want on what is going to be paid. Then when I select Reconcile, it'll bring that forward already checked off with a total down here on the bottom right corner. Come up here and say, what is the date that they're making the payment? Select your date. Now, once I am here, I can also do this. I can select or deselect. I can also match it by a specific date, by a due date or a post date. If I cancel, it'll even remember it for me. And then when I come back, it'll already all be checked off. And then I can finish checking off or unchecking what I want to do. So I go take my payment. I'm going to hit next. Again, this is going to automatically purge all selected transactions that have no outstanding amount after the payment will be purged. All transactions that are older than 35 days and have no outstanding amount will also be purged. How much are they paying? Again, if they're not paying the full amount, you can always change it here. How are they paying? Select OK. I can print or email a receipt. Reconciled and purged. Now, if I need a hard copy of this payment, click it. Go to Transaction. Here's everything that was paid. I go down to Action, and I can print or email from here too. If I ever need to look back in the past, bottom left corner, Show Purge Transactions. You will be able to go back as far as you want in the system. If I go back 12 months, for example, I hit OK, and it's going to bring back everything from the last 12 months. How do I know what's been purged? It'll be in the dark gray, the dark gray. Now, if I click on something, such as this invoice, I can go up here and still get a copy of it. I can see any payments, look at whatever I need to look at. When I'm done, uncheck the box. They go away. Before we get into the statement run, let's go over to ARI. So ARI is a management company that's paying me for invoices from different contacts. Now, what happens a lot of times with these is they may make a payment, but it's going to be short because they're going to usually take some type of a deduction. So let's say I get a payment on this one for $300. So we're going to go make a payment. They're paying with a credit card. I'm going to pay this invoice, but they're only paying $300 on it. I select OK. Again, I can do a receipt if I want. Now that's going to leave that balance, $26.02. So if I go to my transaction, you see I have a balance left of $26.02. I go to Action. Now I can go do the adjustment for the difference. So I'm going to say, what is the date? And basically just go match it up on these dates here. Where's it going to go? Maybe it was some kind of a credit card fee or charge or something. Let's go see if we can find them. So this might be like an ARI fee or something. I select OK. Oops, sorry, got to put in the amount. And hit OK, and we're ready to go. Now, what did I do? I'd made a mistake. Let's see what happens. Let's close this up. Where is it? I have to go back. Transaction. Got that fee in there twice. Adjustment. Same thing again. ARI fee. Now that should have been a negative. There we go. Oops, forgot the date. Amount outstanding after adjustment. See, so you got to pay attention. Is it a positive or a negative? Now we're good to go.